Welcome back to Good Morning Sam's. Ladies, I hope you woke up feeling great, but most of the time we don't. It depends, maybe you have a little baby cuddled up next to you. Maybe, I don't know, there's just so many circumstances, I can't name them all, in which a mother will wake up. Sometimes I've woken up with feet in my face, or a baby, when I was pregnant, jumping on my ribs and I can't breathe and I'm nearly in tears because I'm like, I can't do this, right? If you're pregnant, just so many circumstances we wake up. So I wanted to talk about the emotion when you wake up. For me, it just varies. It depends on what I have going on that day. If I have a project I'm really excited about, or a work, aspect, because I am a wealth at home maker, meaning I do have a business, a few of them, and I do work projects, but I've combined my life as a CEO Sam. First of all, I was a CEO Sam, strictly not in business for many years, but after about 12 years, I really jumped into business, and due to the 21st century, we can completely do so and have it all, family balance, self-balance, relationship balance, because it's called intrinsic balance. You can do that. But to stick to this morning's topic of how you wake up the emotion, it just depends. You may be going through some sicknesses, some illnesses, morning sickness. For my first 2 pregnancies, I lived with my head in a toilet, okay? It was worse than when I was younger and had hangovers, right? So that could be like a physical emotion, or you could wake up still angry at your spouse. For me, that's one of the worst ones. I do not like waking up and still having that lingering elephant in the room, issues with my partner. Or, you could have mom guilt, right? You want to rest in bed, but you've got to get up and go make breakfast and do all of these motherly duties, and you don't feel like it. I've had those days where I'm like, I just don't want to do it. Not today. To hear, mommy, and then out of bed I go. That's not the case a majority of the mornings for me, but it has happened plenty of times in my motherhood journey. What I have done is I have, especially with the negative, not negative emotions, but like anxiety and depression, or overcoming negative emotions due to whatever factors. Perhaps you're in a grieving period because you lost a mother-in-law, you lost a mother, you lost a loved one, maybe you lost your partner. That happens, of course. For maybe you had a stillborn child and you're still grieving. I remember it was Super Bowl day. I gave birth to my son on February 1st, and everybody in the house was excited about Super Bowl, and I'm crying in bed because my son is in the NICU and I'm not with him. I had to leave the hospital without him. So, he's alive and well. He's 11 years old, but I was sad. I woke up sad because it was celebratory for everyone else, but for me, my baby was at the hospital. So, there's grieving, and there's so many other factors. You may wake up financially stressed. Perhaps your partner can't pay the mortgage, and you're just like, what am I going to do? You're feeling that stress too. So what I like to do is give myself time in the morning. Now, I understand. Some of you may not have time. You're like, woman, I don't have time. I have to breastfeed a child, feed the toddler, and just your day is, but it doesn't have to be that way. Remember, this is the CEO Sam movement. You are the boss. You are the CEO. I don't care if you feel like it or not. You have to understand that you've got a lot more power that you're using, okay? That is what it's about. So when you take inventory of your feelings, I like to analyze my mornings. So I take inventory of how I'm normally feeling in the mornings. In one period of my life, and I put a plan in place. So when you have a set of feelings, say you're grieving, give yourself a plan for how you're going to wake up in the morning, because how you wake up in the morning really sets the tone. So if you're grieving, set a plan for just, even if it's like the first 20 minutes, the first hour, the first couple hours, because it's all happening in your head. Remember, your reality, even though you have actual things that occur outside of you, The emotions are being triggered from within you. So I'll give you an example. In a season of my life, I was waking up a bit more irritated, just not wanting to get out of bed. So I would put plans in place. Number one, I would put my phone in my bathroom so that I would have to physically get out of bed to go get it. And then I had a note next to my shower that says, get your ASS in the shower, because I knew once I got in the shower, I could just kind of let the water hit me and relax. And then afterwards, I would watch Dude Dad. It's a stay-at-home dad who, with his family, he does really funny and creative videos. So his channel puts a smile on my face, and it's family-oriented, so it gives me a positive family vibe. And, I would brush my teeth, and then I would have my cup of coffee. One season of my life, the first thing that I had to have was coffee. My husband, he normally woke up earlier than me, and I would have him bring me coffee so that I could, wake up, because in that period of my life, that's what I needed in the morning. So the point is to see, okay, how am I predominantly waking up in the morning, and setting a plan in place. Even if it's communicating with your spouse, or having a best friend come over and say, hey, can you carpool, take my son to school? The point is, whatever it is, to evaluate in whatever season of your life that you're in, how are you waking up? And it's usually per your circumstances, per your obligations, per your children's ages, their needs. Pre-planning meals. Sometimes I would set out everything the night before, the bowl, the cereal, and so all my kids had to do was pour themselves a bowl and cereal and milk, and it would give me at least an extra 30 minutes because they were of age where they could do that, but I communicated with them the night before, set out the tools, and have them do that. The point is that wherever you're at and the predominant feeling you're feeling in the morning, set a plan in place so that you, the CEO of your household, the CEO of your life, you can take the time you need to get to a mental place where you're better off. Because I will tell you what, I cannot wake up in the morning. I can. We can do anything. But it's much harder to wake up in the morning and just kind of jump out of bed with that emotion. I like to settle that emotion and get myself in the correct state, a more aligned state. And again, it depends on what you're going through. But if I attempted to, if I needed, let's just say it this way, if I attempted to, in certain seasons of my life, get up in the emotion that my brain triggered when I woke up, I would be like a fire-breathing dragon, just stop it, shut up. I would be like a monster, But in some mornings, I am like the sunshine, like, hey, and I love you, and it just depends, what's going on in your life. But especially for the seasons where I was going through difficult times, or there was a specific circumstance going on in my life where I needed to give myself self-care, I would put a plan in place to help myself in the morning, and then I would get myself to a better state, and I was able to proceed through the day a heck of a lot better if I had just woken up on the wrong side of the bed, or with that circumstantial emotion, and tried to proceed with the morning in that emotion. We don't have to do that. We have a choice. I'm bringing to your attention that we have a choice. Not necessarily how you wake up, because it's usually automatic for your brain, but you can put a plan in place to help yourself, just like you help your kids, right? You have to put on their shoes, you help them, Mommy, can you open this? And right, you help them. They look to you to help them, but as moms and as the head of our households, we may not have, somebody there doing everything for us. Not everybody has a nanny, not everybody, no shame, no guilt there. You deserve it, that's your choice, but for some of us, we have to kind of do everything by ourselves, or, work with partners that are limited in what they could do. Some moms are caring for a handicapped or ill partner, so they, in addition to their children, they have a sick person in their house, a mother-in-law, a mother, both parents or whoever else or their partner, in which they're caring for everybody on top of yourself. So under such circumstances, or if you're battling with postpartum depression or anxiety, give your brain, put in place, well, first start, number one, evaluate what's the predominant feeling that you see your brain is waking up in. Then two, put a plan in place, just a temporary one, to help you get into a better state, and then proceed with your day. Even if it's just 20 minutes or 45 minutes. And one season of my life, I had to, emphasis on had to get up 2 to 3 hours before everybody else, because I knew that if I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, I would be a bitch to my family, okay? Because what I needed to accomplish, I couldn't do alongside motherhood. I would be cooking breakfast and just completely, my mind would be like, I have to get this done, I want to get this done. And then if I would find a moment to get it done and my family needed me, I'd get pissed off on the inside to my family because I'm like, oh, I've got to get that done, you know? So I would create a plan so I wasn't resentful to my family or my partner. I would wake up earlier, going to bed earlier, right? Planning, and it enabled me to get what I needed done and then proceed with my family. So the morning is very powerful, but the morning is not, it's not automatic, you know? It's funny because some nights I'll go to bed euphoric, nirvana, and then I'll wake up the next morning and my brain, I'm like, what happened? What happened in my sleep to where I could go to bed like that and wake up just the opposite state? So again, take inventory of how you're waking up in the morning per your season of what you're going through. Give yourself love. Create a small plan or a bigger plan. Incorporate others in that plan to help you, because you are the leader of your home. You deserve it, and you have that personal development power and that conscious power to do so.